I'm a furniture and lighting designer. I've worked for a number of companies over the years. I became a role designer for industry in 2003, which was very flattering, and I got to meet a lot of other designers. I got the opportunity to meet John Barnard. I put on some talks at the Royal Society of Arts, and John was included in one of the talks. And I visited his factory, and while I was there I was rather jealous of all those exotic materials that Formula One racing car designers work with. Carbon fibre, Kevlar, magnesium, titanium, those exotic materials that we never get to really play with. And I came back, I think it was the next day, I had lunch with two of the directors of Established and Sons and told them the whole story. And they suggested, why don't you ask John to collaborate? And I thought, yeah, I was a bit uncomfortable doing it, but I did. And so we worked together. John was actually quite pleased. I think he'd been interested in working, exploiting the material outside of just pure racing cars and pure engineering. And the table seemed like a nice project to start, a nice study, a kind of structural study, and something that we could exploit this material to the full. So we started off wanting to take a normal table, something that was really normal, with 4 legs, one at each extremity, and making it as minimal as we possibly could, aesthetically, but also keeping it in proportion, so that the legs are also very thin as well. And we discovered an awful lot during that process. It really was a study. Pushing something to the absolute, you discover things that you never knew. For example, there's a certain element that a table will rock. It has a wobble, and what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. There's no data that you can find, so we actually had to discover ourselves what sort of amplitude and frequency a table can move at to be acceptable. So we had to build one. So we built one and we measured it, and then we had that data that we could put back into the program to kind of design the table. Because the challenge was getting hold of the table at the very thin edge, which is just a couple of millimeters, and trying to get further into the table where you can actually pick up the structure. So that's where we started. That's how the table began.